So let's talk about Dogpack 404. So why am I talking about it? Why am I mentioning him? I haven't really talked about him in, I would say, in days, right? Weeks maybe. Since I originally started the channel, right? Um, you know, back when the whole Chris Tyson stuff was happening, back at like right at the dot of disrespect. So, like during the whole Boogie Cancer arc, right? That's how I started this, right? Um, Now I think it's been a month, maybe 2 months now since things have been played out, and things have not progressed. And I think it's mostly have to do with a lot of the anti Mr. Beast people have been slowly just being eroded, right? Jake the Viking probably being a good example of somebody who has no more leverage, right? He's completely thrown out the window due to the fact that he was related to a sexual predator, and because of that, no one takes him serious anymore. And for a while, there was a bit of tension between him and Keemstar, which was pretty funny in hindsight now when we're thinking about it. But then when we look at somebody like the other people, I think Lava, um, I think his name was Kate or Cat. I can't think of the other guy name who also came out against Chris Tyson. Tyson, whatever, right? He's also gone. No one talks about him anymore. He's basically gone radio silent about this stuff. Back when he was releasing the whole Discord leak, and that basically went nowhere, right? That basically went nowhere. That's all gone. And Dogpack 44 being kind of the guy who was just constantly releasing information after information, it's also more or less like gone. And so because of that, all these people are just more or less dead in the water. They have no more value. They have no more that they can bring forth to the table, right? And I think this just has to do with people being sick of these, of them, because they don't provide really any more information that would be useful, and the fact that they had a lot of weird connection, and the fact that many were willing to defend a predator, ironically, given that Tyson was himself a predator, resulted in this, the erosion of everything. And now what is left of the movement is just Dogpack 404, and because of that, there's nothing that can go further. And people have been slowly, like attacking Dogpack, and the people have from the beginning, just because of his claim, because of who he is. Given his first video, he was very, very schizo, and because of that, people don't want to hear him anymore. Given that his last video he released wasn't even part 3, and was just a whole heap of nothing that was very weird and creepy and kind of all over the place, that did not have to do with Mr. Beast. People watch him because they wanted to know about Mr. Beast. People wanted to watch him because he was undermining Mr. Beast. Now things are going forward. Mr. Beast probably will not be impacted, right? Mr. Beast probably is, in a war of attrition, and he is probably outlasting all the people who went against him. And as the rate is going, people are probably gonna memory hole Chris Tyson, right? It's just gonna be memory hole, which is probably the worst thing that could ever happen, because these idiots are not providing more information. These idiots were, in their own dumb way of thinking, were defending a predator. And it's also the other guy. Was it thing with? I think it's also his name with Jake Patterns or whatever his other game. That weird guy in the second part of the video. When you look at him, he's very questionable. On X, I posted a video that was from 8 months ago exposing Mr. Beast. I watched it through, and it was like more or less good information that we know now, but a lot of it was just a whole lot of like gobbledygook, dumb stuff thrown in politics, where really just shouldn't really be in there. But that's whatever. You can kind of tell the lady was very like salty about that, throwing in word that didn't really mean what it means. It was very dumb. It was very dumb. Good information, but just a very dumb person. And when we look at Dogpack now, he's not being, he's now being thrown in the water. He's done, right? I think even if he released a third part video, would probably be what saved him. He probably, may not make it after this. And given that Mr. Beast, there was a whole rumor that Mr. Beast is waiting for him to release his third part, but then Dogpack is waiting for Mr. Beast to do his, his response. And on this point, I'm like, dude, you're wasting everybody time. You are literally wasting people time, and it's like a wane and wax, right? Where one minute he is, being supported, people are, are backing him up, and now in the next minute it's like the opposite, and that's where things are going. And I think depending on how he released his third part, I feel that it may be his saving grace, but at the same time it will probably also be his downfall. And depending how things play out, that's how I see it, right? Mr. Beast probably had waited long enough, and he can memory holders, and that's it. And that's the sad truth about it all. And people probably don't care, but it is what it is. It's just really sad to see how this all turned out. And maybe one day, like maybe in a couple weeks or a month, I will do kind of like a look back or overview of everything, starting with Chris David Tyson, then bringing all these other people in, and and how it eventually was just one big like downfall. Is it sad for me to say that? Yes. It is, Dogpack, Jack the Viking, all these other people's fault. Yeah, it kind of is their fault. And now, like, what would be left of this movement would be just people trying to scrounge up, um, whatever they can to please Mr. Beast, because he probably just, by sheer weight of, of who he is, he'll just be fine. And it'll probably be a long time. It'll probably be years down the road where people will be doing videos again about him. It's just how I see it. Um, yeah, but I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. But until then, have a good one, y'all.